Imagine for a moment that everything you thought you knew about your decisions, your relationships, and even your emotions might not be entirely true. What if someone has been subtly guiding your actions and controlling your choices without you even realizing it? You may think you're immune to manipulation, but the truth is, manipulation is everywhere. It's in your relationships, your workplace, and even your everyday interactions. Some people are so skilled at this art that they can get exactly what they want, without even asking for it. But the scariest part? You probably don't even know it's happening. You've been manipulated, influenced, and controlled by powerful tactics. But don't worry, I'm here to show you how to spot these tactics and arm yourself with the knowledge you need to protect yourself. By the end of this video, you'll be shocked at how many of these manipulative strategies have been used on you, and most importantly, how you can take back control. So, stick with me, because you won't want to miss this. Ready to dive into the world of manipulation? Let's get started. Tactic number 1. Gaslighting. Let's start with gaslighting, a psychological manipulation tactic that's so subtle and so powerful that it can make you question your own reality. Gaslighting doesn't happen overnight. It's a slow, gradual process that makes you doubt everything you thought you knew. Your memories, your perceptions, even your thoughts, all twisted by the manipulator to suit their agenda. It's like a mental tug of war. You argue with someone, and by the end, you're the one apologizing, questioning whether your version of events was wrong, even though you know deep down that it wasn't. Over time, gaslighting erodes your confidence and makes you reliant on the manipulator's version of reality. This tactic preys on your self-doubt and leaves you mentally and emotionally vulnerable. Remember, the most dangerous part of gaslighting is how easily it sneaks into everyday life. You start to lose trust in yourself, and the manipulator gains more control over your thoughts, emotions, and decisions. It's a silent destroyer of your confidence. Tactic number 2. Reverse psychology. Next, we have reverse psychology, a tactic so simple, yet so effective. It's a form of manipulation that plays on your desire to resist control. The manipulator tells you to do the opposite of what they want, knowing that your rebellious nature will make you want to do the exact opposite of what they've suggested. For instance, if I wanted you to stop drinking soda, instead of telling you to quit, I'd say, "Go ahead, drink soda all day every day. Don't even touch water." What happens next? You'll likely feel an urge to stop drinking soda just because I told you to do the opposite. Reverse psychology is a mind game, one that plays on your natural urge to challenge authority. You've probably experienced this countless times in your life. Someone telling you not to do something, and suddenly, you feel an irresistible urge to prove them wrong. That's reverse psychology in action. Tactic number 3. Choice restriction. Choice restriction is one of the sneakiest manipulation tactics because it makes you feel like you're in control when, in fact, the decision has already been made for you. The manipulator gives you 2 choices, both of which will ultimately lead you down the path they want. For example, let's say you're asked to either study or do house chores. Naturally, you'll choose studying because it's the easier option. But the manipulator has already guided you toward the decision they wanted. It's a tactic that restricts your freedom while making you feel like you've made a choice yourself. Choice restriction is about narrowing down your options in a way that makes you think you're in control, while secretly guiding you to make the decision they want. It's a brilliant psychological trick, because it operates under the guise of giving you power, while actually taking it away. Tactic number 4. Guilt trip. Let's talk about guilt trips, a powerful and emotionally manipulative tactic that preys on your conscience. A manipulator will make you feel bad for something you did or something you didn't do to get you to comply with their wishes. Have you ever had someone say, "You shouldn't have done that," or "You owe me an apology"? Suddenly, you're filled with guilt, even though you know you didn't do anything wrong. That's the beauty of a guilt trip. It doesn't matter whether you're in the wrong or not. The manipulator makes you feel so bad about your actions that you'll do anything to make it right. Once the guilt is planted, the manipulator holds the power. They get you to act out of a sense of obligation, rather than free will. It's a tactic that's used to control your behavior by making you feel responsible for someone else's emotions. Tactic number 5. Manipulative negotiation. Manipulative negotiation is all about making you feel like you have no other choice but to agree with the manipulator's terms. A salesperson might say, "This is the best deal you'll ever get," or "You won't find a better price anywhere else." These statements are designed to make you believe that if you don't act immediately, you'll miss out. The manipulator creates a sense of urgency by exaggerating the benefits of their offer, making you feel pressured to make a decision right away. In reality, this is just another tactic to rush you into agreeing to their terms. You may be convinced that this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, but in most cases, that's just a strategy to get you to act impulsively. Manipulative negotiation doesn't allow you the time to think things through. It's a high-pressure sales tactic that uses your emotions to push you into making decisions that benefit the manipulator, not you. Tactic number 6. Amplifying issues. Now let's dive into amplifying issues, a manipulation tactic that turns a minor problem into a major crisis. A manipulator will blow a small issue way out of proportion, creating a sense of urgency or fear that forces you to react quickly, often without thinking it through. Imagine a situation where you have a disagreement with someone. Instead of discussing it calmly and rationally, they escalate the issue, making it seem like the end of the world. They want you to feel pressured to act fast, without taking the time to assess the situation properly. The goal is to make you feel like there's no time to think, and that you must act right now to avoid a disaster. This tactic plays on your emotions, pushing you to react in a way that benefits the manipulator. Tactic number 7. Love bombing. Love bombing is a tactic where the manipulator showers you with affection, compliments, and attention to win your trust and make you feel special. It's an emotional flood that feels incredible at first. Who wouldn't want to feel loved and admired? But here's the catch. Once they've hooked you, they use that emotional bond to control you. They'll make you feel guilty if you don't reciprocate their affection or manipulate you into doing things their way. It's love wrapped in manipulation, and it's one of the most dangerous forms of emotional control. Love bombing makes you feel like you're the center of someone's world. But once you're emotionally invested, the manipulator will start using that bond to get what they want. It's a dangerous form of emotional manipulation because it creates a sense of dependency. Tactic number 8. Silent treatment. Silent treatment is one of the most toxic manipulation tactics. It's when someone deliberately ignores you or withholds communication as a form of punishment. The manipulator knows that silence can make you feel anxious, insecure, and desperate for their approval. Eventually, you'll start chasing after their attention, trying to fix things, even when you didn't do anything wrong. The manipulator wants to control you through your emotions, making you feel like you've done something unforgivable. The silent treatment is used to punish you emotionally and manipulate your behavior, making you feel as though you need to apologize for something you didn't do. It's a powerful tool because it forces you to seek validation, which gives the manipulator more control. Tactic number 9. Triangulation. Triangulation is a tactic where the manipulator brings a third person into the situation to create conflict, jealousy, or insecurity. They might say, "Well, so-and-so agrees with me," to make you feel outnumbered or unsupported. The manipulator is trying to create division, making you feel like you're alone in your perspective. The goal is to manipulate your emotions by introducing a third party who will make you feel inferior or wrong. They use this tactic to isolate you and gain more control over the situation. Tactic number 10. Flattery. Flattery might seem harmless, right? But when it's used strategically, it's a form of manipulation. A manipulator will shower you with compliments, making you feel good about yourself. Once they've lowered your guard, they get you to do what they want without questioning their motives. They might say, "You're the best at this," or "You're the smartest person I know." At first, it feels great to hear those words. But it's all a strategy to make you feel special so they can get you to act in their favor. Flattery isn't about making you feel good. It's about getting you to do what they want by making you feel obligated to them. It's a clever form of manipulation that plays on your ego. Tactic number 11. Scarcity tactics. Scarcity is a powerful psychological manipulation tool. By creating the illusion of limited availability, limited time offer, or only 2 left in stock, the manipulator gets you to act fast and make decisions based on fear. They want you to believe that if you don't act now, you'll lose the opportunity forever. But here's the secret. The manipulator might have created this scarcity out of thin air. It's all about making you feel like you're running out of time, so you act impulsively. The fear of missing out, also known as FOMO, can be a highly effective strategy to manipulate your buying behavior. It's one of the oldest tricks in sales, and it works every time, because when your decision-making is clouded by urgency, you're more likely to make decisions based on emotion rather than logic. Tactic number 12. Emotional blackmail. Emotional blackmail is one of the most insidious forms of manipulation. This is when someone makes you feel guilty, fearful, or anxious to force you into doing something they want. It's an emotional hostage situation, where they hold your feelings against you. For example, they might say, "If you really loved me, you would do this for me." Or, "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me." This tactic is designed to make you feel responsible for their emotions, and forces you to act out of fear of losing their approval or love. Emotional blackmail is particularly dangerous because it plays on your emotional vulnerabilities, making you believe that if you don't act according to their wishes, you'll be abandoning them or hurting them. It forces you into a corner where you feel like there's no escape except to comply. Tactic number 13. Fake concern. Fake concern is when someone pretends to care about you, but in reality, they are only interested in controlling your behavior. They'll feign worry or concern for your well-being, but their real intention is to manipulate you into doing something that benefits them. They might say, "I'm just telling you this because I care about you," or "I only want the best for you." This tactic is particularly sneaky because it comes under the guise of kindness and care, making it harder for you to recognize the manipulation. Fake concern is a way to manipulate your decisions by cloaking the control in the appearance of genuine care. The manipulator wants you to believe that their advice or demands are coming from a place of concern for your well-being, but in reality, they're using it as a strategy to get you to comply. Tactic number 14. Blame shifting. Blame shifting is one of the most frustrating and manipulative tactics. This is when the manipulator refuses to take responsibility for their own actions and instead places the blame on you. It's an incredibly powerful technique because it shifts the focus away from their wrongdoing and places the burden of guilt squarely on your shoulders. You confront them about a mistake they made, and instead of acknowledging their fault, they say things like, "You made me do it," or "If you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have reacted this way." Suddenly, you're apologizing for something that wasn't even your fault. Blame shifting is a way to avoid accountability while making you feel responsible for the manipulator's actions. It's a mental game that makes you second-guess yourself, even when you're in the right. Tactic number 15. Playing the victim. Playing the victim is a tactic where the manipulator presents themselves as helpless or misunderstood, hoping to gain sympathy and deflect any criticism. The manipulator uses this role to avoid taking responsibility for their actions while drawing attention away from their own behavior. They might say, "Everyone is always against me," or "You don't know what I've been through." This makes you feel guilty for confronting them, which in turn shifts your focus from their manipulation to comforting them. Playing the victim is designed to make you feel sorry for the manipulator, causing you to drop the issue at hand and focus on their suffering. The goal is to deflect responsibility while emotionally manipulating you into prioritizing their needs over your own. Tactic number 16. Negative reinforcement. Negative reinforcement is a manipulative tactic where the manipulator removes something unpleasant to encourage a certain behavior. It may seem like a reward at first, but in reality, it's a psychological tool to make you feel obligated to meet their demands. For example, a boss might say, "If you agree to work overtime, I'll reduce your workload next week." They create a sense of relief by removing something negative, but in the process, they're encouraging you to comply with their demands in exchange for the removal of discomfort. Negative reinforcement works by conditioning you to associate relief with compliance. It makes you feel like you have no choice but to comply, because relief from discomfort is contingent on doing what they want. It's a subtle but effective way of manipulating your behavior without you realizing it. Tactic number 17. Passive aggression. Passive aggression is a form of manipulation where the manipulator expresses their anger or frustration in indirect, subtle ways. Instead of confronting an issue directly, they use sarcasm, backhanded compliments, or even silent sabotage to express their displeasure. For example, a manipulator might say, "Oh, don't worry about it, you're the expert," when they really mean the opposite. The issue here is that the aggression is disguised, leaving you questioning whether it's a genuine comment or something more hostile. Passive aggression is a sneaky tactic because it avoids direct confrontation, allowing the manipulator to express their dissatisfaction without having to take responsibility for their actions. It leaves you confused, questioning their true intentions, and often makes you feel like you're overreacting. Tactic number 18. Love withdrawal. Love withdrawal is one of the most powerful emotional manipulation tactics. This is when someone threatens to withdraw their love, affection, or attention unless you comply with their wishes. It plays on your deepest fears of rejection and abandonment. The manipulator may say, "If you don't do this, I'll stop loving you," or "I'll pull away from you if you don't change." They use the threat of losing their love to manipulate you into acting the way they want. Love withdrawal is a tool of emotional control, making you feel desperate to meet their demands in order to keep the relationship intact. It preys on your fear of losing someone important, and it can make you feel like you have no choice but to comply with their wishes to avoid rejection. Tactic number 19. False promises. False promises are when someone makes you believe that something amazing is coming your way in the future, only to never follow through. They might promise you a raise, a reward, or something of value, but when the time comes, they always have an excuse for why it hasn't happened yet. They keep you working harder, pushing you with the hope that something better is on the horizon, but when the time comes to deliver, they claim, "Oh, we'll get to it next time," or "something came up." It's a tactic to get you to put in effort, without ever giving you the reward you were promised. False promises create an illusion of hope and keep you invested in a situation that will never materialize. The manipulator gets what they want from your labor or effort, while you get nothing in return. Tactic number 20. Isolating. Isolation is one of the most powerful manipulation tactics because it makes you dependent on the manipulator. Slowly, the manipulator will cut you off from your support network, your friends, your family, and anyone else who could help you see the manipulation for what it is. They might say things like, "Those people aren't good for you," or "Why do you need them when you have me?" They isolate you from others so you become reliant on them for emotional support, guidance, and validation. Isolation is the first step in creating a toxic dependency. Once you've been cut off from your support system, the manipulator gains more control over your decisions, making it harder for you to see their true intentions. It's a gradual process that wears away at your sense of independence and autonomy. Tactic number 21. Fear-mongering. Fear-mongering is when someone exaggerates potential dangers or negative consequences to manipulate your decisions. They might say, "If you don't do this, your life will fall apart," or "Everyone else is doing this. If you don't, you'll be left behind." They use fear as a tool to create anxiety and urgency, convincing you that something terrible will happen if you don't comply with their demands. It's a high-pressure tactic that plays on your worst fears, making you act quickly without fully thinking through the consequences. Fear-mongering is all about creating an emotional reaction, fear, so that you make decisions based on anxiety rather than rational thought. The manipulator uses this tactic to push you into compliance by preying on your insecurities and fears. Tactic number 22. Faking the future. Faking the future is when someone paints an unrealistic picture of what the future could be like if you just stick around or keep doing what they ask. They promise a great reward, a bright future, or an amazing outcome that never materializes. They might say, "Stay with me and we'll build an incredible life together." Or "Just do this for now, and you'll be rewarded later." The promises of a better tomorrow keep you hopeful, but in reality, they have no intention of delivering on those promises. Faking the future is a way to keep you invested in a situation that offers nothing but empty promises. The manipulator uses hope to keep you from questioning their behavior, even though they never plan to follow through. Tactic number 23. Stonewalling. Stonewalling is when the manipulator refuses to engage with you, either by shutting down communication or by dismissing the issue entirely. They might say things like, "I don't want to talk about this right now," or simply stop responding to you altogether. Stonewalling is a form of emotional avoidance that leaves you feeling unheard and frustrated. It's a way to avoid accountability and make you feel like the issue isn't worth discussing, even though it is. By stonewalling, the manipulator forces you to either drop the issue or keep pushing, which ultimately makes you seem unreasonable. It's a tactic designed to silence you and prevent you from addressing the problem. Tactic number 24. Triangulation in relationships. Triangulation in relationships is when a third person is brought into your conflict or situation to create jealousy, competition, or insecurity. For example, the manipulator might flirt with someone else or talk about how great someone else is just to make you feel inadequate. They want to keep you on edge, constantly wondering where you stand in the relationship. This tactic creates a sense of competition that forces you to fight for their attention and approval. Triangulation is a way to manipulate your emotions by introducing a third party to destabilize the relationship. It's designed to keep you guessing, making you work harder to keep the manipulator's attention. Tactic number 25. False comparisons. False comparisons are when the manipulator compares you to others to make you feel inferior or inadequate. They might say things like, "Why can't you be more like so-and-so?" or "So-and-so would never do this." The goal is to make you feel like you're not good enough, so you'll try harder to meet their expectations. These comparisons are completely unfair and unrealistic, but they create a sense of insecurity that the manipulator can exploit. False comparisons undermine your confidence and self-worth, making you doubt your abilities and feel like you're constantly falling short. It's a way to make you work harder to win their approval, even though it's an impossible standard to meet. Tactic number 26. Double bind. A double bind is a situation where no matter what you do, you're wrong. The manipulator sets up two conflicting demands or conditions so that whichever choice you make, you lose. They might say, "You never spend time with me." But when you do spend time with them, they'll complain. "Why are you always around? Don't you have anything better to do?" No matter what you do, you're put in a position where you're made to feel like you're in the wrong. A double bind creates a no-win situation where you're always at fault. No matter what you choose, it's designed to make you feel stuck, unable to satisfy the manipulator's demands, leaving you frustrated and powerless. Tactic number 26. Double bind. A double bind is a situation where no matter what you do, you're wrong. The manipulator sets up two conflicting demands or conditions so that whichever choice you make, you lose. They might say, "You never spend time with me." But when you do spend time with them, they'll complain, "Why are you always around? Don't you have anything better to do?" No matter what you do, you're put in a position where you're made to feel like you're in the wrong. A double bind creates a no-win situation where you're always at fault, no matter what you choose. It's designed to make you feel stuck, unable to satisfy the manipulator's demands, leaving you frustrated and powerless. Tactic number 27. Moving the goalposts. Moving the goalposts is a tactic where the manipulator constantly changes the standards or expectations so that you can never succeed. It's like trying to hit a moving target. You might meet their demands one day, but the next day, they'll say it's not enough. and ask for more. It's a tactic that keeps you striving for an unattainable goal. No matter how much effort you put in, the manipulator keeps raising the bar so you can never feel like you've accomplished enough. Moving the goalposts ensures that you'll keep working, pushing yourself harder and harder, but never truly feeling successful or appreciated. It's a strategy designed to drain you emotionally and mentally. Tactic number 28. Preemptive defense. Preemptive defense is when the manipulator defends themselves before you even accuse them of anything. They might say, "I know you're going to think I did this on purpose, but I didn't." Or, "I'm sure you're going to blame me, but it's not my fault." They use this tactic to shut down any criticism before it even starts. By saying this in advance, they make you feel like you can't criticize them without looking unreasonable or unfair. Preemptive defense is a way to prevent accountability and manipulate the conversation. It makes you second-guess whether your concerns are valid, keeping the manipulator off the hook. Tactic number 29. Playing dumb. Playing dumb is when the manipulator pretends not to understand what you're talking about to avoid responsibility or action. They might say, "I don't get it," or "What do you mean?" even though they fully understand what's going on. It's a delay tactic, designed to frustrate and confuse you. When you explain something clearly, they act as if it's over their head, leaving you feeling like you're the one overcomplicating things. Playing dumb is an intentional tactic to make you drop the issue altogether. The manipulator knows that by pretending ignorance, they can avoid confronting the issue directly and make you feel like you're the one at fault for bringing it up. Tactic number 30. Bait and switch. Bait and switch is a tactic where the manipulator offers something appealing to draw you in, but once you're hooked, they change the terms. For example, they might offer you a job with a high salary, but once you accept, they lower the pay or increase the workload. It's designed to make you feel like you're trapped. Once you've made the commitment, it's harder to back out without facing consequences. The manipulator uses this tactic to lure you in with something attractive and then take advantage of your commitment. Tactic number 31. Minimizing. Minimizing is a tactic where the manipulator downplays your feelings, concerns, or experiences to make you feel like you're overreacting. When you express that something has upset you, they might say things like, "You're overreacting," or "It's not a big deal." The goal is to invalidate your emotions, making you second-guess whether you have the right to feel upset. By minimizing the importance of your concerns, the manipulator shifts the focus away from the issue and makes you feel like you're the one who's being unreasonable. Minimizing is a subtle form of emotional control because it forces you to doubt yourself and your emotional responses. Over time, you may begin to question your feelings, leading you to ignore or suppress them altogether. Tactic number 32. Feigned helplessness. Feigned helplessness is a manipulation tactic where the manipulator pretends to be incapable or clueless in order to get you to do something for them. They might say things like, "I don't know how to do this," or "I'm so bad at this," knowing full well that they could handle the situation if they chose to. The manipulator plays the victim here, pretending to be overwhelmed or unable to function, which forces you to step in and do the work for them. It's a tactic designed to manipulate you into taking responsibility for things that aren't yours to handle. Feigned helplessness creates a dynamic where you feel compelled to take over and do the work, or make decisions, all while the manipulator maintains the appearance of innocence and neediness. It's an emotional trap that makes you feel like you're helping, but really, you're being used. Tactic number 33. Overloading with information. Information overload is a tactic where the manipulator bombards you with so much information, facts, or unnecessary details that it becomes overwhelming. The sheer volume of information makes it difficult for you to focus on the actual issue at hand. The goal of this tactic is to confuse you and make you feel lost or disoriented. In the chaos of too many details, the manipulator sneaks in what they want, knowing you'll be too overwhelmed to question or fully process it. Overloading you with irrelevant facts forces you into a state of cognitive overload, where it's hard to discern what's important and what's not. It's a way to control the situation without you even realizing it. Tactic number 34. Sympathy ploy. Sympathy ploys are when the manipulator uses their struggles or past trauma to manipulate you into feeling sorry for them. They might constantly bring up how difficult their life has been, or they'll share stories of hardship to make you feel guilty for confronting them. They'll say things like, "I've been through so much, and this is how you treat me?" Or, "You don't understand how hard my life is." It's a tactic that makes you feel like you have to go easy on them, or that their issues should take precedence over yours. The goal of a sympathy ploy is to shift the focus away from their behavior and make you feel guilty for raising concerns. The manipulator plays on your empathy and compassion to get you to overlook their faults or mistakes. Tactic number 35, pretending to forget. Pretending to forget is a tactic where the manipulator conveniently forgets about something they promised to do or a responsibility they were supposed to take care of. For instance, you remind them of something they said they would do, and they respond with, "Oh, I totally forgot about that," or "That slipped my mind." It's a way to avoid accountability and make it seem like they didn't mean to neglect their responsibilities. This tactic is especially frustrating because it makes you feel like you're overreacting or being unreasonable for expecting them to follow through. By pretending to forget, the manipulator escapes responsibility for their actions, while making you feel like you're the one putting unnecessary pressure on them. It creates an illusion of innocence while they avoid the consequences of their behavior. Tactic number 36, selective truth-telling. Selective truth-telling is when the manipulator shares only part of the truth and leaves out crucial details that would change your perspective. They tell you just enough to appear honest, but omit key information that would alter the entire narrative. By selectively choosing what to share, the manipulator crafts a version of the story that supports their agenda, while leaving you in the dark about important facts. This tactic is incredibly effective because it creates the illusion of transparency, while still allowing the manipulator to maintain control over the narrative. Selective truth-telling allows the manipulator to bend the truth in their favor without ever outright lying, making it much harder for you to spot the manipulation. Tactic number 37, playing the savior. Playing the savior is when the manipulator swoops in to save the day, often from a problem they created themselves. They'll create a situation where you need help, only to step in and rescue you, boosting their importance in your eyes. For example, they might cause a problem, and then act like the hero when they fix it. They want you to feel indebted to them, so you become more reliant on their help in the future. The manipulator uses their ability to save you as a tool to make you feel grateful and dependent. It's a psychological move that keeps you in a cycle of needing their assistance, which in turn gives them more control over your decisions. Tactic number 38, using silence as punishment. Using silence as punishment is a form of emotional manipulation, where the manipulator deliberately ignores you or refuses to communicate with you. It's not just about being quiet, it's about making you feel anxious, frustrated, and desperate for their attention. By withholding communication, they force you to chase after them, apologize, or beg for their attention. This creates a power dynamic where you feel like you have to work for their approval, even though you did nothing wrong. The manipulator uses silence as a tool to control you emotionally, and it often leaves you questioning what you did wrong. It's a form of emotional control that manipulates your need for connection and validation. Tactic number 39, black and white thinking. Black and white thinking is a manipulation tactic where the manipulator forces you into an either-or scenario, with no room for nuance or middle ground. They might say things like, "Either you're with me, or you're against me," or "If you don't do this, it means you don't care about me." This tactic forces you into a corner, where any decision that isn't in their favor is seen as wrong or disloyal. There's no room for compromise, and no space for differing opinions. You're either on their side, or you're their enemy. Black and white thinking eliminates all gray areas, creating an environment where you feel forced to agree with the manipulator, or face the consequences of being labeled the enemy. It's a powerful tool for controlling someone's decisions and loyalty. Tactic number 40, playing dumb. Playing dumb is when the manipulator pretends to not understand what you're saying to avoid responsibility or action. They might say, "I don't get it," or "What do you mean?" even though they fully understand the situation. It's a tactic to frustrate and confuse you. The manipulator acts ignorant or clueless to avoid having to answer difficult questions or take accountability for their actions. By pretending not to understand, the manipulator avoids addressing the issue directly, making you feel like you're the one overcomplicating things. This delay tactic makes you doubt your own reasoning, and it's an effective way to sidestep responsibility. Conclusion. So, now you know. These are the 40 powerful manipulation tactics that are used every day to control people. Whether it's in your relationships, at work, or in casual conversations, manipulation is all around us. But now that you're aware of these tactics, you have the power to protect yourself from falling into someone else's trap. Remember, the goal isn't to manipulate others, but to stay aware and empower yourself to make your own decisions. So, next time you encounter one of these tactics, you'll know exactly what's going on. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more insights into psychology, self-improvement, and mastering the art of influence. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay in control of your mind.